So there is fire, there's magma, and so forth with volcanic eruptions, and this is how this is possible. Now let me talk for a moment about the underworld. The underworld is the world that exists underneath the earth. Hell is down. It's underneath. It's beneath our feet. And you have the word Hades, and you have the word Gehenna. Sheol is often used as translated as the word grave, but Sheol was also the underworld in the Old Testament. Hades and Gehenna are, you find Gehenna is a Greek word, for example. Then you have not just hell, you have what's called the lake of fire, which is the final place, eternal place where Satan, the fallen angels, and all sinners that are judged guilty at the great white throne judgment will go, and that's called eternal punishment. You can't change that. You can't say, well, that doesn't sound like God would do that. You can't rationalize that. That's what the Scripture says. The third area, which seldom gets preached on, is called the bottomless pit. Now, the word bottomless pit in Greek is abyssos, and it is the abyss. The Greeks would talk about in their writings the abyss. It is mentioned in the New Testament, sometimes using different words. I'll explain that in a moment. The abyss is the place where fallen angels are confined. It is the place where Satan will be confined. It is a place where other forms of spirits, such as those weird-looking spirits described in Revelation chapter 9, are confined. Now, follow me carefully as we talk about this. Isaiah 14 is a reference to Satan. It's a reference to him. I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I'll sit in the congregation in the sides of the north. So when you begin to read and you begin to look at Isaiah 14, it is about Lucifer. It's about Satan. But here's what's really, really important. In the scripture of Isaiah 14:15, it says that this being Lucifer would be brought down to the sides of the pit. Now, we do have this allusion to the bottomless pit and how Satan will be confined in the bottomless pit in the book of Revelation. When the angel comes down with the key, he confines him for 1,000 years. So here is the earliest reference to this pit that John later describes in the Apocalypse in the book of Revelation. Now, let's go in the New Testament, and let me show you something very, very unique. In Luke 8:31, you have this man who is possessed by demons. But the demons said to Jesus, when Jesus was about to cast them out, they said, "Do not send us into the deep, send us into the swine." And Jesus gave them permission to leave the man's body. Of course, they had to leave because they were commanded to, and to enter into a herd of wild swine that were feeding. Now, in the King James translation of Luke chapter 8, verse 31, it mentions the word deep. It is interesting that this word deep is the same word used in the book of Revelation over and over for the phrase bottomless pit. What these angels were saying was, please do not send us into the bottomless pit. Do not send us into the bottomless pit before the time. That's a revelation. These demons knew there was a time they would be forever confined in the pit. It's found in the book of Isaiah chapter 14, verse 15, and they will be confined with Satan. And they said, we know, don't do this before the time comes to do it. Now, I don't know what they know about the time coming to do it, because that's revealed later in the book of Revelation. But they know what their doom is. They know what their eternal destination is, and that's the point I want to make. So it's real interesting that Jude chapter 6, 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 4 talk about fallen angels that are now bound in hell, but the Greek word in the New Testament in 2 Peter 2 and 4 is Tartarus, and the Tartarus is, according to the ancient Greeks, the deepest part of hell where the worst spirits go. So the angels that kept not their first estate, which would be the angels alluded to in Genesis 6 that took on the form of men, came into the daughters of men and produced the race of giants, which is mentioned, by the way, by many of the early fathers. It's also alluded to in one of the books that, it's not in the Bible, but it's a book that is quoted in the scripture, in the book of Jude, the book of Enoch. He talks about the fallen angels coming into the daughters of men producing the race of giants, and that is found in Genesis chapter 6, I believe it's verse 4. So these angels are now bound in Tartarus, which is a low underworld, in chains of darkness till the judgment of the great day, and they will later be cast into the lake of fire. And Satan, and this is the part that I want to get to, but when you look at Satan during the 1,000-year reign of Christ, which is called the Millennial reign, alluded to in Revelation chapter 20, it says Satan is bound in the bottomless pit, in the abyss, for 1,000 years.
Before you leave, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, we would love to hear how the Lord is moving and touching your heart right now. So be sure to comment below and then share this video with someone you feel needs it just as much as you did.